Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Camila, and today, as you see by this shirt, it is my TBR shirt, and therefore this is a TBR video. I decided to go with it. My month of May, which I will be wrapping up very soon, went really well. I think I've dived a bit more into mood reading and reading stuff that I want to read, and it's been a lot more exciting, and I've been a lot more kind of enthusiastic and keen and diving back into the books that I have on my bedside table or on my tablet or anything. So it's been really good, and I want to continue that through June. So I've picked 10 books that are more of a pile of possibilities, books that I'm currently in the middle of reading, books that I'm thinking of picking up, but we'll see, if I dive in and out of these books over the next month, if I go into July, I will be very happy with all of this. Let's start with the first 5 books, which are books that I've already started and I would just kind of like to finish throughout the month at a kind of casual pace. I'm enjoying them, I want to carry on, but I'm also not rushing through them. The first book is The Two Towers by JRR Tolkien. This is the second book in the Lord of the Rings series. As you may know, the first one, The Fellowship of the Ring, was on my Classics TBR for 2023. I read that one in May, and honestly, I loved it, and I was just keen to carry on, so I picked up the second one immediately. I didn't think I would read the series completely this year, but I'm kind of in for it, and when you have a series and you have all the books, may as well continue. So I'm in the second one. I have hit a bit of a boring bit, I think, in the book. So I've put it down, but I want to keep going. I think that's what happened last time I read them, and I may have given up after this book, but I want to continue because this is actually, The Two Towers is my favorite movie, so I hope that when I get to the action in this book, it gets really kind of cool, and I want to push through really quickly and find the action. The second book on my list for June is a book that was also my Classics TBR, just because I'm continuing the efforts a little bit there. It is A Vise Story by a Vise Queen by Liliʻuokalani, and I'm enjoying that one up to now. Obviously it started with a bit of an intro to the book, and now we're in the story. This is really interesting to get a background on the Kingdom of Hawaii and just the story of the people and of this woman particularly. The third book is Disorientation by Elaine Chou. This is a book that I've discussed recently on my NetGalley shelf video, and this has been on my shelf for a while, and I recently had a bit of a thing with my electronics that I will not discuss, but anyway, I discovered that I had a copy left of this book, of this arc, so I'm so happy because I was really keen to read it. So I've dived into it already, and it's really exciting, and it's really funny because obviously I've just started my PhD, so I feel like now reading that I can relate to it a bit more, and yeah, really enjoying the tone up to now, and it's really funny at the moment. I can't wait to continue reading it. Next is Assembly by Natasha Brown. This is a book that I started yesterday. We were at the beach, and I had bought this book. I thought I'd read the whole thing, but ended up chatting and having lunch and just not reading as much as I thought. But I think once I sit down and just dive into it, it will be really quick. I think I'm already almost halfway through, so yeah, it will be fast. So yeah, really enjoying it. It's a really short book, and yeah, really, really good. The style of writing is short and snappy, and I look forward to seeing where it goes. And finally, the last book that I've already started this month is Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. This is nonfiction. This is a sort of memoir, I guess, by Anna Kendrick. I had started this one ages ago, like last year, the year before, I don't know. And I saw that it was recently like on my list, and I was like, oh yeah, I should get back to that book. So I've gone back to it, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's funny because I usually listen to books on kind of fast pace, but with her I cannot because she speaks so fast. But yeah, it's a really cool thing to get a bit of a background of this actor. Next, let's talk about the 5 books that I haven't started yet, but I would like to get to. If I want, if I can, putting no pressure on myself. The first one is History Keeps Me Awake at Night by Christy Edwall. This was discussed in my NetGalley shelf video as well. I had an arc of this. This is from the library because it has come out since. I think it came out in February, but I was really keen to read it, and it's really short. I think this version here is 230 pages or something like that, so it's quite short. I had started it, but I think I'll start from the beginning, just to you know, be completely into the story. And it's about a journalist that finds out about these like really bad stories, and I think that's why history is keeping her awake. But yeah, I was really keen actually when I started it, so I look forward to getting back to it. I don't want to put pressure on myself to finish this one, but I do have to return to the library in the next few weeks. But it's really short, so I feel like even if I just read a little bit here and there, I will get to it. Next is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. This is the second one in the Legendborn series. I really loved Legendborn. I read it as part of a book club with friends ages ago. I think it was during lockdowns or something. And yeah, I thought it was really good. So I was kind of keen to get to the second one. I think before I was planning this video, and now I did start to listen to the audiobook, the first chapter, and I was really confused. I forgot all the names of all the characters. Like I need that previously on, you know, just to catch up. But it was good. I'm not loving the narrator of the audiobook, I have to say, but we'll see, and I'm kind of keen to know where the action is going to go and all the powers and all of that with Brie. So I think that'll be good. Next is Kukum by Michel. He is a Innu writer, so kind of indigenous First Nation author from the region of Quebec. And I've been really meaning to read one of his books. I've heard amazing things about Kukum. I found a copy, so I have access to it in French, obviously. And I'm really excited to read it and to get to that. It's one of my goals to read more in French and more Indigenous First Nations author. So I think I can do 2 in 1 with this one. Next, we have another book that I hadn't started when I made this list, but I have since started, The End of Man by Christina Sweeney-Baird. I ordered this book, I think it was early pandemic, like first lockdown. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to encourage bookshops. So I ordered lots of books, obviously. Bookshops definitely did not go down during the pandemic. And this is a pandemic book, which was difficult. I remember, I think I waited a couple months to open it because I was like, oh yeah, the lockdown is over now, I can open it. This was 2020. And I opened it, I started reading it, and I had a bit of a panic. So I was like, too early. And last month, I binge watched The Morning Show, and I was unwell. And obviously the second season kind of happens during or before the COVID pandemic start in 2020. And I was like, because I watched it and I felt okay, I was like, oh, maybe it's time to read this one. So I've started it, and it's literally unputdownable. It is so good, and I'm just, I'm going with it. And the most amazing thing about this book is that it was written in the years like before the pandemic. This was released in March 2020, I believe, or like April or something, like really at the beginning, because she wrote a foreword here on the 12th of April 2020 in which she discusses like how weird it is that this book is coming out while we're in lockdown of a global pandemic. So yeah, incredible. And yeah, I'm so excited for this one. And finally, and by finally I mean I realized I have 2 more books, so technically there's 11 books on my list. In number 5, I have Knitting the Pod by Claudia Hernandez. This is a nonfiction about Hernandez. This was on my list for my 12 new to me countries. I believe this author is from Guatemala, and this is basically retelling the story of her and her mother escaping into the US, escaping domestic abuse and just looking for a better life. And yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to read this one. I look forward to it. As you can tell, I've been trying to have like a lot of different goals, but also kind of giving me a lot of options on this list. And the last book, which honestly I had forgotten, but then I've been chatting with Nikki from Red Dot Reads. We'll be starting a buddy read in June for The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi. So I think that's going to be a really beautiful and must read, and I'm glad that I'm going to be able to chat with Nikki along the way. This may take us, a few months, we'll see. I don't think it's particularly long, but it might be harrowing, like I don't know. So we said that we'd take it chill and just kind of chat at certain points of the book and see how we felt and stuff like that and share opinions. So I think that'll be really good. So this was my list for June. As I've just mentioned, I think I've given myself a lot of good options across a lot of my goals. I'm trying to go for my goals, but also give myself space to breathe and choose what I'm feeling like reading at the moment. So obviously I have some classics, I have some books in French, some NetGalley arcs that I need to get to, some physical books, some additional authors. Like I have a bit of everything, and I'm very, very pleased with that. So what are your plans for June? Let me know in the comments. I cannot wait to hear what is your book that you can't wait to get to this month. Which one are you currently reading? And also, have you read any of the books that I've just mentioned? You know, maybe you've read one of them and you loved it, and maybe I should, you know, dive right in. Just let me know, and I cannot wait to hear what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I see you back. Bye.